Let's take a look at one more tool that we can use to help structure information in our presentations to help capture our audience's attention. But let me ask you, how long is your attention span? How long can you stay focused before your mind begins to wander? Well, I'd argue that most people have a really long attention span if you can keep their interest. Now, to prove a point, think about Netflix. How many people do you know that will lose an entire weekend by watching 12 or 15 episodes in their favourite series once it's launched? So we can keep people's focus as long as we can maintain their interest. So by being inspired by Netflix, today's tool is called Plots and Props. And plots is like the storyline of any good movie or Netflix episode. Think about the ones that don't capture your attention. The long, slow, boring French romantic movies, which are really difficult to keep our attention because the energy just stays really low. Or maybe ones that are overwhelming, these Netflix shows that are all fast and furious with 2 hours of car chases, really difficult to pay attention to all the way through. And this reminds us that all good movies have a storyline with variations in different levels of energy. Yes, they'll have a car chase, then it might move into the love scene, then it might move on to the tense thriller towards the end. And that reminds us that we're planning and preparing presentations, we need to have that same variation of energy as we go through our agenda. So as you're planning your agenda items, think about which are the ones where you're going to be really focused and really getting into some detail. Then maybe the next agenda item is something which is a higher energy. Maybe you're more passionate or more inspiring when we're talking about a project that we've delivered. And then we're going to get serious and we're going to talk about the money and we get into the detail. So plots is all about having that variation in energy, that variation as we talk through our own story. So the second part of today's tool is called props. And props are what they use in movies and TV shows to capture the audience's attention and get them to focus. So you can use the same visual aids when planning and preparing your own presentations. Don't use the same visual aid all the way through. You don't have to use a PowerPoint deck up there on the wall for everything. Maybe you can use a printout. You can print out the balance sheet and go through the numbers together. Maybe even use the whiteboard up there. Get everybody up on their feet, change the dynamic halfway through a long meeting and get everybody up doing a brainstorm together. These days we can even do this virtually when we can use tools such as Kahoot or Mentimeter. Even when we're presenting virtually, we can use those interactive visual aids to get our audience attention up. So in summary, today's tools is all about plots and props. Think about the energy level of your presentation. How are you going to create some variation in your plot when you're telling your story? And how are you going to use visual aids to keep your audience's attention and maximize their interest all the way through?